Hello there. This is Cindy at cindybdesigns.com. Thank you for joining me today. This is the card and the pillow box that we'll be making. I have lots of pictures. I have focused concept art cards on my blog all this week, and I will have sizes and dimensions and everything like that once again over on the blog at cindybdesigns.com. So we're going to pick this up a little bit because this is a little bit more involved than what I normally do, but I was getting kind of tired of making, the really simple projects and wanted to do something a little bit different. So we're going to be using the Come Together product suite. This just really fall themed and has the great DSP, the ribbon, the images, the die cuts. I love the DSP in the colors in it. I've had a tremendous amount of fun playing with it. And that is the inside of the card. Those are the dies. You do get 2 pumpkins, and that is the photopolymer stamp set. So we are going to go ahead and get started on our card. And I'm going to apologize for the little squeaky noises that you hear in the background. Puppy is having a very aggressive playtime right now. So I pulled in a top folding A2 Early Espresso 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 card front, and I'm inking that up with Early Espresso ink for some tone on tone. And if you look at the leaves, how the line art is designed, if you wing it carefully, the leaves actually fit into each other, giving you a really good coverage. So I'm just laying down the leaves all over that card there. I'm not worried about the center because I'm going to be covering it up with a banner that I'm cutting from the designer series paper. But that is from the Come Together or Gather Together DSP. And it's like a wood plank. And I'm inking up that same image again with Early Espresso ink. And I'm using the clear blocks. And I'm going to set that aside to let it dry and then eventually die cut it out. Because I'm trying to get all my stamping done once and the die cutting and drying, and I don't know what happened there, but that is where I obviously forgot to slow it down. And I lay down 2 images of the pumpkin with Cajun Craze ink. And I have our watercolor pencils of Early Espresso, Cajun Craze, and Pumpkin Pie. So I'm coloring in the stem with Early Espresso. And I'm going to be taking Pumpkin Pie to the entire pumpkin there. And I'm using a very light hand, just getting that initial color down or initial phase of the color down. And apologies, I thought I took away the squeaky toy from Puppy, but she went and got it again. Now I blended it out, and I'm taking Cajun Craze around. I'm following the line art basically just to darken that up a little bit. I did leave the image in the Stamparatus for a reason, because after I blend out that Cajun Craze as well, blending out the pumpkin pie even kind of took away from the lines a little bit. And then I'm going over those lines again, so it's pulling away more of my color, where it's starting to become a little bit mushy as opposed to having some differentiation between it. So I inked it up again in Cajun Craze, and then I'm stamping, or I'm re-stamping the image just to bring some of that definition back. And now I'm just doing a little bit of cleanup, because the less I edit, the easier that the videos seem to flow a little bit. So if it wastes a little bit of time, I apologize for that. Pulled in a Whisperite envelope, and I am going to be stamping the corner of that with, I think, Pretty Peacock. And now I'm just applying Snell to the back of the envelope, and I'm going to attach some DSP to that and then snip it off. And I do apply a lot of adhesive right now because it is still 90 degrees outside and I live where there's humidity, so you know, I like my stuff to stay together. This is the inside of the card, and I'm laying down another piece of the Coordinating Designer Series paper. And I always use the lines on the grid paper or the mat for the Stamparatus, which is one of my favorite tools. I use it for everything, as you can see, and it's just a big staple on the desk. I lay down the leaf with Cajun Craze, and I'm just putting some adhesive on the back of that strip of scrap DSP, seeing which way it goes. And that's how I get it to line up perfectly on the bottom, is using my Stamparatus for doing that. And snipped off the ends. I'm putting the panel back in the Stamparatus, you know, getting the sentiment down, lining it back up. That's going to be inked up in Early Espresso and laid down. And I've been using my stamp pads a lot to help prop the Stamparatus door open, and that seems to work out as well. I mean, you do what you got to do. So there's the adhesive on the back. Close the card and put it down that way just in case I didn't want to smear the ink. Here I just kind of went off a little bit to see what it would look like tone on tone if I added some, or if I added a watercolor pencil and a blender pen and blended it out. And it fades to almost nothing, but it's just something I can pack away for a future technique. So that is a piece. It's 3 inches across. I already went ahead and took my ruler and made a line down the back that was 1.5 inches long. Cut my own banner. The inside of the DSP is white, so I took that Cajun Craze watercolor pencil and just covered up that little white snip that was left and forgot to zoom out. So I'm getting that down, and that's why I wasn't concerned about the middle, because I knew what I was going to be doing with that. So I'm bringing the Stamparatus back in again, and that is a scrap piece of Pretty Peacock, and I'm putting down the embossing buddy on it. That's a 1/2 inch in width, and I cut apart our sentiment stamp because normally it says season of things and it's stacked on top of each other. But don't be afraid to take apart your stamps to make them work for you, especially you can easily put them back together. That's never an issue. So I'm getting that lined up. Hold on for a second. Jezebel, chill. And I applied Versamark to it, and I'm going to scoop some white embossing powder over that. Take it off screen, heat emboss it, pull it back in, add the 2 things to it, making sure everything's lined up. And I'm going to go ahead and repeat that procedure there. So now that that's heat embossed, that is a piece of Early Espresso cardstock. I stuck it through a Subtles embossing folder, and then I got the Stampin' Spritzer, which was filled with half water, and I took a not Wink of Stella, but you can do that too. I took some of our shimmer mist and dumped part of that in the bottle, shook it up like there's no tomorrow, and that's how I got my own shimmer mist. And what happens with that is that it will break up the properties of the cardstock, where you kind of get that multi-tonal and dimensional look from the die cuts. And then I used a brayer to really get that embossing in there and that shimmer in there. And I think it turned out pretty cool. And you're going to see it in the pictures. And that was not early espresso cardstock. That was soft suede, by the way, because I'm looking at the card right now. And now Puppy has a hold of a box. Stop. So we're starting die cutting. That is a 3-inch circle that I'm using for this, for the card, and I die cut the leaf out, and that's from layering circles. And there's 2 pumpkins. I don't know why I just didn't drag them both out and die cut it at one time. And now I have to stop and, or just get up for a second and take the box away from Puppy again. So all I'm doing right now is putting the card together, and you can see how I'm doing it. I'm going to jump up real quick without stopping the time on this voiceover and getting the box away from Jezebel. I'm sorry, dude, you gotta stop that. Naughty. Okay, I obviously didn't miss much here, just laying down more adhesive. But yeah, that's life with a puppy, and she's gonna dig down that box again. I'm using my bone folder to curl up the edges. Hey, come on. Stop. The bone folder is curling up the edges of the leaves just to give it a lot more dimension. And you saw that at the pictures of the very beginning here. Okay, she went back to the squeaky toy. And there's a lot of good dimension on this card. You have dimensionals on the circle, you have it on the leaves, you have it on a pumpkin, so there's a good 3 layers, but it's not too bulky to still fit into an envelope. And this is just that part of the project where you start constructing it like you're putting together a Lego house or something. And I had to grab another dimensional to put on the back of the leaf because one was up a little bit too far. But that's just what you do, you know, you wing it. And all I'm doing now is pulling off the dimensionals to the back. But if you don't have this product suite, definitely get it. I've been using it for so many different things. And I love the line art on it too because I'm a big color person. So that is what our card looks like. I'm going to talk you through the box real fast because I did the exact same thing to it. And again, the measurements are over on the blog. It's put together pretty much the exact same way with a little bit less dimension. But the tabs to the pillow boxes, they're in the back, and you want to make sure that that little divot there is facing towards the back, you know, just to keep everything pretty. So thank you for putting up with my distractions today and for joining me. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe. Leave a comment. Join me next week for, I don't know what I'm doing, more fall and autumn and Good Morning Magnolia. Have a fantastic weekend. God bless, and I will see you next week.